Well, how do everybody? Foster Kinn here. Now, I've done 3 videos so far about the 3 main reasons I ride a motorcycle. And originally I was going to call this one the 4th main reason, but I started thinking about it. It just didn't seem right. So I'm calling it the most fulfilling reason I ride a motorcycle, which is the people you meet. Yeah, I tell you what, you ride around this country, you meet the greatest people you can imagine. Man, characters, and just friendly, helpful, charitable. They'll invite you to barbecue in the backyard. It's wonderful. I love it. Anyway, one of those guys, one of those characters I met, was in 2014 in a place called Fanning Springs, Florida. I was only there for an hour and a half. It seemed like a nice place. It has a lazy river running through it called the Suwannee River. Anyway, I'm at a gas station, out in the parking lot, sitting on the curb next to the Beast, eating my lunch, which, if I remember correctly, was beef jerky and root beer. 4 main food groups right there. Anyway, this old fella walks over, Chet, and he's drinking something out of a bottle inside a paper bag. I kid you not. Anyway, he sits down, starts telling me about all the good old days when he was riding a Moto Guzzi Eldorado. Nice bike. Now, he loved it, man. He loved the ride. He loved the wind in his hair. Loved the way the bike looked, the way that he looked on the bike. And there was only one downside. And that was his wife, who kept bugging him to get rid of it because someday you're going to get into an accident and kill yourself. Yes. Anyway, one Friday night, Chet comes back from working the oil rigs in the Gulf and starts drinking beer with his friends and dropping shots and playing poker. It's a bad combination. Anyway, a couple of 3 or 4 hours later, his paycheck's gone. He's lost it all. Everything. Now, that's bad enough, but what's really terrifying him is having to call his wife and tell her that he lost his entire paycheck while drinking and playing poker. Anyway, so he walks around and he comes up with a plan. So he calls a buddy of his who had been wanting to buy his bike forever, and he says, "Hey, you ready to buy the bike?" And the guy says, "Yeah, sure, how much?" And he tells him the amount of the paycheck plus $400. So now it was a good deal. And so his buddy says, "Yeah, sure, sure." And Chet says, "Well, now there's 2 conditions. You can't ride it for 2 weeks, and you have to paint it." And the guy goes, "Yeah, okay, I can live with that. Yeah, sure." So then he makes the important phone call to his wife, and he says, "Dear, something happened. I was drinking a little bit, got on the bike, and went down. Now, I'm okay. Not a scratch, but the bike's totaled. It's gone. But the good news is my buddy's going to buy it for $400. She goes, "Oh, okay. I'm glad you're okay." And then he tells her the most important thing. He says, "You were right all along. I should never have gotten that bike in the first place." And she goes, "Oh, I love you." And, all's all good. So the next morning, his buddy comes over, he gets the bike, they go down to the bank and exchange the money and all that, and he takes Chet home. So a couple of weeks later, Chet and his wife are in the car, and they see his buddy ride by. And she says, "Dear, is that your old motorcycle?" And he goes, now this is killing him. I mean, it's ripping his heart out. And he goes, yeah, he did a hell of a job in fixing it up after only 2 weeks. Anyway, and then he tells me that he never told her what really happened. So Chet looks over at me and he goes, "You ever do anything that stupid?" "Oh, yeah. Yeah." Anyway, that's just one of the many stories in my books, which, by the way, are called Freedom's Rush and Freedom's Rush 2. You can get them Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any place you can get books. No sex, drugs, religion, violence, or politics. No, it's all about the ride. Anyway, my friends, ride big, ride long, and ride free.